At the will reading, my parents grinned as my sister received $6.7 million, and I got just $1. Dad chuckled and said, "Maybe now you'll finally learn responsibility." Mom added, "You were always the disappointment anyway." But then the lawyer opened Grandpa's sealed letter, and Mom's face went white as the room fell silent. I was 32 when I realized that being the good son in my family didn't mean much, unless you were also the favorite. My name's Peter. For most of my life, I believed that if I just worked hard, kept my head down, and stayed away from family drama, my parents would one day see me the way they saw my sister, Chloe. I was wrong. They didn't just prefer her. They worshipped her. She could set fire to the living room, and they'd call her creative. I once broke a plate, and Mom said it symbolized my lack of focus. That pretty much summed up our dynamic. Growing up, Chloe was the golden child, the miracle baby after years of trying. I was the unplanned follow-up, the quiet kid building Lego sets alone while she performed cartwheels for applause. She got ballet lessons, summer camps, private tutors, and a car for her 17th birthday. I got hand-me-downs, half apologies, and lectures about how gratitude builds character. Dad loved to tell people, "Chloe's going places." And when I got a scholarship in mechanical engineering, he just said, "Don't get cocky. Everyone gets lucky once." After college, I worked my way up at a manufacturing firm. Nothing flashy, but solid work. Chloe, meanwhile, burned through careers like matches. Art school dropout, wellness influencer, spiritual consultant, whatever that even means. No matter how many times she failed, my parents bailed her out. They even remortgaged their house once to fund her eco-friendly candle business. Those candles ended up stacked in their basement next to boxes of unpaid invoices. Despite it all, I still visited. I'd fix Dad's car, mow the lawn, replace their water heater, all the things Chloe was too busy for. Every time, Mom would brag about Chloe's newest achievement, like hitting 12,000 Instagram followers, then turn to me and ask, "So, Peter, have you met anyone serious yet?" I never brought anyone home after my last girlfriend overheard Mom call her another charity project. After that, I just stopped trying. Then Grandpa passed away. He was the only one who ever treated me like an equal. Quiet but sharp, a man of few words and deep eyes. He was Dad's father, and they never got along. Grandpa always said Dad had gone soft after marrying Mom, that she ran the house like a CEO. When I was a kid, I spent summers with him, fixing fences, repairing tractors, building furniture in his barn. He once told me, "You've got the patience of a craftsman, Pete." That's rare. I didn't realize how much that meant until much later. The funeral was cold, small, efficient, exactly how Dad wanted it. No unnecessary drama. Chloe arrived 2 hours late, wearing sunglasses and holding an iced coffee. She claimed she had a migraine from crying. I barely recognized her. Designer coat, long fake nails, that detached confidence of someone who's never faced consequences. She gave me a quick hug and whispered, "Let's just get this over with," then spent the rest of the service scrolling on her phone. And a few days later, Grandpa's lawyer called to schedule the will reading. He said Grandpa had left behind a few specific requests, including a sealed letter to be opened in front of the family. Mom rolled her eyes when she heard that. "Always the dramatics," she muttered. But my gut twisted. Grandpa wasn't one for theatrics. If he'd written a letter, it meant something. The day of the will reading, we met in the lawyer's downtown office. The place smelled faintly of old paper and lemon polish. Mom looked like she was attending a gala. Pearl earrings, designer perfume, and that polished smile she used for public appearances. Dad stood with his arms crossed, impatient as ever. Chloe sat beside them, clicking her nails and sipping a latte she'd smuggled in. The lawyer, a calm man named Mr. Henderson, adjusted his glasses and gave us a polite smile. "Thank you all for coming," he began. "As you know, your father left behind a detailed will and an accompanying letter." Mom waved her hand dismissively. "Let's just get to it. I assume the estate goes to us as usual." Mr. Henderson cleared his throat. "There are specific allocations." He read carefully. "To his daughter-in-law, Margaret, that's Mom, he leaves the antique china set and the family piano." Mom smiled, though I noticed the flicker of disappointment in her eyes. To his son, Robert, Dad, he leaves his coin collection, valued at approximately $60,000, and his vintage pickup truck. Dad grunted in approval, giving a short nod. Then Henderson looked at Chloe, who was already fixing her hair in her phone's reflection. To his granddaughter, Chloe, he leaves the remainder of his liquid assets, totaling $6.7 million. Chloe gasped. Wait, what? She turned to Mom, who beamed like she'd just won an award. See, sweetheart, Grandpa knew your worth, she whispered. I stayed quiet, hands folded, waiting for my name. And to his grandson, Peter, Henderson paused. That pause felt endless. Long enough for Mom to smirk and for Dad to mutter, here we go. Then Henderson read, he leaves $1. The room fell silent. Dad let out a sharp laugh and clapped me on the shoulder. Guess someone needed a lesson in humility, he said. The lawyer opened Grandpa's sealed letter, and Mom's face went white as the room fell silent. Maybe now you'll learn some responsibility, Peter, Mom said sharply. You were always the disappointment anyway. Chloe smirked. Don't take it personally, Pete. It's not your fault he liked me more. I didn't respond. My throat felt tight. It wasn't about the money. It was the message. $1. Like I was worth less than the paper it was printed on. Mr. Henderson, the lawyer, adjusted his glasses. There's one more item, he said. A sealed letter your grandfather asked me to read after the will. Mom frowned. What for? He's made himself clear. Henderson opened the yellowed envelope and began reading Grandpa's handwriting. Robert, Margaret, and my grandchildren. If you're hearing this, I'm gone, and hopefully somewhere quieter than that house of yours. Robert, you've spent your life trying to impress others instead of teaching your children by example. Margaret, you've turned love into a competition. Chloe, I hope money brings you peace, because without honesty, nothing else will. And Peter, don't sit there quietly. You have the kindest heart of all, and that's why they've treated you the way they have. They mistake goodness for weakness. I haven't forgotten your patience, your help, or your respect. Now you'll see why I said patience is a craftsman's virtue. Henderson paused. There's a postscript just for you, Peter, he said, handing me a smaller envelope sealed with red wax. Mom's eyes narrowed. What does that mean? I didn't answer. I opened the note slowly. Inside was one simple line, written in Grandpa's steady hand. $1 isn't the gift. Look beneath the roots. I didn't read it aloud. Mom demanded to know what it said, but I just told her, it's private. I left before anyone could say more. Sitting in my car, I unfolded the note again. Beneath the roots. Then it hit me, the oak tree behind Grandpa's farmhouse. The one we planted together when I was 9. He used to say, someday this tree will matter to you more than it does to me. Now I finally understood. The farmhouse had been empty since Grandpa's passing, though legally it now belonged to Chloe, at least on paper. The key still worked. Inside, nothing had changed. The smell of old wood and tobacco, his dusty bookshelf, his recliner still facing the window, overlooking the oak tree. I stood there for a while, then went outside, the letter still in my hand. The oak had grown thick, its roots sprawling deep. Near the base, I noticed a small patch of disturbed soil. My heart started a race. I grabbed a shovel from the shed and began digging. After half an hour, the shovel struck metal, a small box. Inside were yellow documents and a note in Grandpa's handwriting. Peter, if you found this, you've earned it. Everything else was a distraction. You know what truly matters. I trust you'll know what to do. Under the note were several property deeds, hundreds of acres of farmland, forest, and riverfront. Every parcel had been signed over to me, privately, without my parents knowing. That I sank down beside the box, shaking. Grandpa hadn't left me $1. He'd left me everything that mattered. But I couldn't tell anyone. Not yet. I reburied the box, sat on the porch until sunset, and thought. The single dollar in the will wasn't an insult. It was a test. Grandpa knew my family's greed. He wanted their true colors to show first. That I in the following weeks. Mom's fake concern and Dad's quiet jabs returned. Chloe bragged about her new heritage brand, using Grandpa's name to sell overpriced wellness retreats. It made me sick. He'd built his life with his hands, not hashtags. Then Mr. Henderson called me in. I assume you found what he left, he said. When I nodded, he slid me a folder. Appraisals showing the land was worth twice Chloe's inheritance. Why not include it in the will? I asked. Because he knew your family, Henderson replied. This way you have time. Control. Leverage. That word stuck with me. A week later, Mom invited me to dinner to reconnect. When I arrived, the table was set like a business meeting. Chloe stood there in a white blazer, smiling. Petey, she said sweetly, we were just talking about you. I have a business proposal. She slid a brochure toward me. Whitaker Heritage Retreat, a family legacy experience. It'll be perfect, she said. Yoga, meditation, farm-to-table dining, all on Grandpa's land. I'll handle ownership, and you can do the maintenance. You know, the stuff you're good at. I just stared at her, realizing Grandpa had seen this all coming. In other words, I said flatly, I'd work for you. Chloe smiled wider. Well, if you want to put it that way. But hey, you be part of something meaningful. Dad raised his glass. You could use a purpose, son. It's not healthy living alone, tinkering with machines. Mom nodded. It's the least you can do after everything Chloe's done for this family. I felt that same tightness in my chest I'd felt at the will reading. The same condescension disguised as kindness. I stood up. No thanks. Chloe's smile froze. Excuse me. I'm not interested in working for you. Mom's eyes narrowed. Peter, don't be ungrateful. She's offering you an opportunity. An opportunity, I repeated, to build her empire while she takes the credit. Dad slammed his glass down. Watch your tone. You'll help your sister, or don't bother showing your face here again. I didn't argue. I just nodded once and walked out. That was the night I decided I'd had enough, but walking away didn't mean staying silent. Grandpa had trusted me with something powerful, something they had no idea existed. As I watched them twist his legacy into something fake, I finally understood what he meant by leverage. They thought they'd humiliated me with $1. They had no idea what was coming to. The tease started small, rumors, whispers. Then, one night, a former farmhand called. Should I go ahead with the bulldozer work near the riverbank? He asked. What bulldozer work? Your sister said you approved it. Said you two were partners now. I froze. Then I drove straight to the farm. The sight made my stomach drop. Churned up soil, cut down trees, and stakes marking lot and parking. A laminated notice nailed to the oak tree read, Whitaker Heritage Retreat, Development in Progress. Project Manager, Chloe Whitaker, M.Y. fist clenched. She hadn't called, hadn't asked, just bulldozed the land Grandpa and I had built together. I called her immediately. Don't hey Petey me, I snapped. What are you doing on the farm? She sighed. Oh, you saw it already? Relax, Pete. Just groundwork. Dad's idea. We're using the land for something productive. The land isn't yours, Chloe. Legally, you inherited the house, not the property Grandpa bought later. Her tone hardened. Are you seriously pulling that? He left me the estate. That includes everything. No, it doesn't. And you know it. She laughed. You think you can fight me on this? Don't embarrass yourself. I hung up before I said something worse. The next day, I went to Mr. Henderson's office with photos. He frowned. She's trespassing, Peter. You have every legal right to stop her. Not yet, I said. Let her dig deeper. Greed never stops halfway. But I didn't expect what came next, a petition in the mail. My parents had filed to invalidate Grandpa's property transfers, accusing me of manipulating him. Chloe's statement swore he'd meant everything to go to her. I sat at my kitchen table, jaw tight, reading the words over and over. Manipulated. That night, Mom called, soft voice, fake sympathy. Peter, honey, we didn't want it to come to this, but you forced our hand. By existing? I muttered, she sighed. Don't be dramatic. Your grandfather was confused. Chloe deserves that land. She'll make something wonderful out of it. And me? She chuckled gently. You've never cared for business or family matters. You'd waste it. This way it stays in the family. In the family? I said flatly. You mean in her hands? She hesitated, then said words I'll never forget. Sometimes the better child needs more to do more. I hung up. I didn't yell or argue, just ended the call and stared out the window until the sky turned gray. The next morning, I went back to the property. Half the field was torn up, trenches where wildflowers had grown. Construction trucks were parked everywhere. Workers moved like ants under the orders of a man in a bright vest. "Who's in charge here?" I asked. "You the surveyor?" He said. "No, I'm the owner." He laughed. "Lady named Chloe Whitaker hired us. She doesn't own this land. You better take it up with her. We've been paid." I took pictures, everything I could, then went home to print them. That night, Dad called. "You're making a fool of yourself. Sign the release," he snapped. "No," I said. Grandpa knew exactly what he was doing. "Don't test me." Then came the click. A week later, the betrayal hit harder. I came home to find my apartment ransacked. The metal box, the deeds, the letters, all gone. No signs of forced entry. Someone had a key.